You lived through all of it.
Yeah, exactly.
So you lived through all of it.
Yeah, exactly.
So you.
What's going on, dudes and dudettes? So, yes, officially, I did do a separate video yesterday saying that the Chargers are trading for Khalil Mack for only a second-round pick this year and a third-round pick the following year in the draft. Not too bad of a deal. It's looking great with all these Photoshop pictures of him added with Joey Bosa and Derwin James. Like, it's just going to be freaking amazing to have guys at all these levels. They're just missing a great linebacker, so maybe if they don't get the defensive tackle in the draft, they could hopefully get one of the top or better linebackers later in the first round or in the second round as well. There's a lot of good talented guys there at the linebacking position, but yeah, it's setting up great. It just does suck when it comes to, I'll get that real quick. But, they are also, both Khalil Mack and Joey Bosa were like ranked 3rd and 4th. I forget what type of defensive numbers they were. I think it was like pressures, or I know it wasn't sacks, something like that, but they're like the highest graded according to PFF. So it's great to have them both on the same team. And also Mike Williams, reading more into that contract. Yeah, it was a 3-year deal, $60 million, but he's not getting paid $20 million each year. It kind of breaks up pretty nicely for them. I think it's like $14 million this year, $19 million next season, and then the rest is going on that 3rd year with the option of the Chargers to be able to let him go whether things aren't going well with injuries or his play, or if they want to work out another deal as well, and he's still going to be in his prime if he's still good, and then you could just extend off of that and make it even cheaper than the 20 some odd million it's gonna be. So it's a pretty good deal overall, so I'm not too mad about that. But it does, when it comes to their ability, I'm just trying to make sure I'm writing this correctly, but yes, when it comes to their like free agency money, I think in the video yesterday I said they had about 30 some odd million, but it did go down quite a bit because I forgot to add the Mike Williams stuff, and I didn't know how much money the Chargers had officially as of yet. But yes, I think right now they have a little over 12 million as we speak. If they let go of Brian Bulaga, the right tackle who they signed a year ago, who just hasn't played for them at all, and I think they actually signed him 2 years ago. He barely played his first year, was injured, didn't even play pretty much at all last year, maybe one game, and that was it. But if they let go of him, they could save around $10 million, so that goes back to the cap space, so you have $22 million to work with. And then I heard they're also trying to maybe restructure Khalil Mack's deal if he's willing to do that, probably add another year or two, but then you bring that number down to a couple, like maybe $4 or $5 million. So in the end, it could all work out for the Chargers. Just hope they just do the right thing. Then USC basketball, there was a lot of, suspicious stuff going on with Maryland, because they kept being in contact with the coach Andy Einfeld, and a lot of people assumed maybe he was going to be leaving USC to go there at the end of the season, even though he still had a year or two on his contract. But they did extend him to the 2027, 2028 year. So that's pretty good news. He's going to be around for at least a handful of more years. Be able to get a lot of these SoCal recruits to stay in states and hopefully come to USC, not UCLA. But yeah, definitely glad they got that over and done with. Then Duke basketball. They played their first game of the ACC tournament against Syracuse, who just came off a pretty big win against Florida State, but they were missing their best player in Syracuse, one of the Boeheim guys. And luckily for them, Duke was able to get the victory. It was a lot scorer than the final score. The final score was 88-79, but it's definitely back and forth. Duke was losing by quite a few points here and there before that, even at halftime. But luckily, I think they went on like an 8-0 run, 10-0 run to end the game. They just hit a lot of clutch threes and a couple of the nice shots as well inside with the free throws as well. So they're able to build this lead, move on, and I believe they play Miami tonight, or actually within the next hour, so around 4. So that'll be pretty interesting. But yeah, Jeremy Roach stepped up, even though I've been a love-hate relationship, but then Wendell Moore stepped up, at least in the first half. We made a couple of plays in the second half, but yes, overall they got the victory. Speaking of Duke players in the NBA, Kyrie Irving the other day went off for 50 points, and I forget if it was a victory or not for them, but yeah, it's pretty good to see that he still has what it takes to, score that many points, even though he is playing almost every other game because he's not allowed to play at his home stadium, which is pretty crazy. But yeah, he dropped the 50 piece, which is pretty cool. But then that kind of brought up a different stat for Jason Tatum, apparently, because he's been on a hot streak as well. He had a 50-point game I mentioned the other day as well, but his stats over the last 3 games were like 135 points, which is pretty crazy. The only time he ever had something close like that was a 3-game stretch last year, but it was 128 points. So it's obviously stepping up. He does have these kind of stretches and moments where he is kind of like a Kobe-esque player where he could put up these type of numbers consistently, 30-plus points, 50-plus point game. It's pretty awesome to see. Just sucks that he's with Boston right now, but see about that in the future. Then USC basketball, yes, they had a later game in Vegas going up against Washington, who was a pretty formidable team who had won their game the night before. So, it's going to be tough either way for USC because they always kind of play down to their competition. But it was a close game throughout. Started watching the last, 30 seconds because USC was winning by 2. And then they made a stupid turnover. Luckily, the Washington missed that shot at the end. And USC got the ball, hit their 2 free throws. The freshman Reese Dixon Waters did. And they were able to get that victory. So it's nice to see, but definitely some nail-biting moments at the end. But of course, their reward that they get is playing UCLA tonight. I think it's around the same time, 7 or 8 o'clock tonight in Vegas. So that should be fun. Hopefully, my teams will be able to advance to the semifinals or finals. Yeah, I believe Duke still is another semifinal after this, and then USC will go to the finals of the Pac-12 tournament if it does happen. So, hoping for the best outcome. Then Bronny James, LeBron James' son, and his high school, Sierra Canyon, were actually in the Corona, California area playing against Corona Centennial, and I guess the CIF divisional playoff. I don't know if it was for a championship or not, but they did come on the road out here, and they did end up getting blown out by 20, 30 points. It's pretty crazy because I did not know Centennial was that good in basketball. I knew they were always talented. They always beat our ass in basketball or any other sport, but yeah, they're pretty talented in basketball this year, I guess, so it's good for them. Then a couple of guys who were recently released or about to be released when the new year starts for the NFL on Sunday. A couple of guys that I think could be game changers for USC, for the Chargers. They've been pretty solid players throughout their careers, but hopefully the Chargers can add a couple of these guys like Landon Collins, who was a safety I like coming out of Alabama. He was drafted by the Giants, did okay there, but I forget if he was traded or he signed with Washington. Same division, got a pretty nice contract, but they recently released him. And I don't know why, because he's a pretty good player, but I guess he was making too much money. So obviously the Chargers can get him for less than what he was going to get paid this year, and maybe get him on a 2 or 3 year deal contract if they like. But yes, he is a very talented defensive safety in my opinion. And also a guy like Roger Saffold III from Tennessee. I forget where he's been recently, but yes, I know he's been there. He was just recently released from the Titans. And obviously the Titans have one of the better rushing games in all the NFL, obviously because they have Derrick Henry, but that offensive line is great as well. So stealing a guy like that he's 32, 33, something like that, but you sign him to a 1 or 2 year deal to be one of your guards. It looks like he's a guard. It'd be pretty nice to get a veteran like that. In my opinion, he could start for you right away or be a quality backup if you need him to be. But yeah, he's definitely one of the better guys out there you could get for cheap because Chargers don't have that much money in free agency. And then to end this off, yes, they put up a picture just showing of all the quarterbacks that are, as of right now, quarterbacks in the AFC West, the Chargers division. Obviously, you have Justin Herbert, the Chargers, Patrick Mahomes of the Chiefs, now Russell Wilson of the Denver Broncos, and Derek Carr as of the second of the Raiders, because I heard that Cleveland has been trying to get in talks with the Raiders, maybe about trading with them. So I don't know if that means they would be swapping him and Baker Mayfield, which would be even more of a downgrade, in my opinion, for the Raiders. But, you know, the Raiders are still going to be formidable because they still made the playoffs this last season. The Chargers didn't. And they have Josh McDaniels, who's been the offensive guru for the Patriots. Yeah, he did have, Tom Brady for a lot of those years, but he did recently get his rookie quarterback to the Pro Bowl and Mack Jones this last season. So he is a talented coach. So see how that goes. Had to deal with all that crap, all this talent. That's why the Chargers made a pretty big trade for a guy like Khalil Mack from Chicago. Probably going to be a lot more trades. Definitely going to look at what all these other three teams are doing within our division and our conference as well, the AFC, which is just packed. Joe Burrow just recently with Cincinnati in the Super Bowl, Josh Allen, obviously, and Lamar Jackson. So just talent just goes on and on with the AFC. So we'll see. Definitely looking forward to it. Thanks for watching, people. Like, subscribe, comment down below. Let me know what y'all think. Have a great rest of your day. And yes, good luck to my Duke Blue Devils right now. They should be starting to play, and then USC tonight. So yes, thanks for watching. Have a great rest of your day. Bye, Dom.